Hi YouTube, it's Kathy, and this is my weekly entertainment wrap-up for March 26th to April 1st. This week I read 3 books, I watched 4 TV shows, I watched 1 movie, and I listened to 1 book. First this week I finished Free for All, Oddballs, Geeks, and Gangsters in the Public Library. As you may know, I work in a public library, and I love books about books, so this seemed like a good lighthearted fit. The writer's from the States, but it was interesting to see how similar his experience was to what I've witnessed in my first year at the library. Weird things get put in the return slot, pages get paid the least to do whatever they're told, and school children are vaguely terrifying. More than anything, the library is for everyone, and it warms my heart to know that the library is the center of so many communities. This week I also read an advance reader copy of Midnight at the Bright Ideas Bookstore by Matthew Sullivan, which doesn't come out officially until July. According to an instruction on NetGalley, I'm not really supposed to publish any reviews until a couple of weeks before publication, but I can tell you that this book follows a woman who works in a bookstore and finds one of her favorite patrons dead in the stacks. From there, the mystery dives into her hidden past. This book was a page-turner, and the mystery was nice and twisty, so if mysteries are your thing, I'd definitely look for this in July. I ended up going to work an hour early on Saturday because my regular shift was moved up an hour, and I'm a creature of habit, so I forgot. So I also read Binti by Nnedi Okorafor. The cover is gorgeous, I've heard some positive buzz about it, it's won some awards, but overall I was unimpressed. Binti is the first of her kind to be accepted to attend a university on a distant planet, and although her family disapproves, she runs away to follow her dreams. While in transit, there's a terrible attack, and she is left to fend for herself, with little likelihood of making it to university or home. Being a novella, it was only about 90 pages long, and that's fine, but I felt that this story would have been better if it was fleshed out to a full-length novel. This felt very much like an outline to me, and I would have loved to explore more of the world and get to know the main character better. We saw glimpses of her home life, her ambitions, and her talents, but I didn't have enough time to get attached to her, which is why this is so forgettable to me. I do enjoy the concept of a subset of society that basically worships math, but this felt like the commencement of an idea instead of a finished product. This week in private practice, I watched from Season 2, Episode 13 to Season 3, Episode 9. This show can be seen as more lighthearted than Grey's Anatomy, basically because we're not digging around on the insides of multiple people per episode. So I was lulled into a false sense of security and just assumed the Season 2 finale wouldn't crush my soul, which of course it did. I'm watching the show on disc from the library and basically had to leave my house immediately, take 2 buses, pick up as many of the Season 3 discs as possible, fortunately they had the first disc, and come home and make sure that characters were okay. On the flip side, this week I watched the Season 4 finale of Walking Dead as well as the next couple of episodes, and without Netflix telling me that we passed into a new season, I wouldn't have really noticed. Upon reflecting on the changes for the characters, this division made sense, but since there's always new threats, there's this feeling of sensory overload, and it's harder to get attached to characters. Even though mention of ones that have died do beget watcher sympathy, just not to the extent of Shondaland shows. This week on Survivor, I found myself very upset at one of the castaways and vaguely worried about her mental health. I felt so angry with her, and then I realized I was angry at an actual human. I'm used to feeling emotions for fictional characters in shows and books, so this flip into judging people on reality TV was kind of mind-boggling. I try not to be judgmental, and here I was, talking about an actual person whose life I know very little about. On Friday, I sat on my couch for 12 hours straight and watched every episode of 13 Reasons Why, the Netflix series based on the Jay Asher book that I read last week. I did an unscripted review afterwards, which I posted directly to YouTube, so if you're interested in that, check it out. There will be a link down in the description. My ability to use words other than definitely and interesting seemed to have been fried in the process, but overall, I highly recommend this show. If you missed my last wrap-up, 13 Reasons Why is about Clay Jensen, who's a high school student who gets a box of tapes in the mail. On them, he finds 13 reasons why Hannah Baker, his high school crush, committed suicide 2 weeks previously. Only people who are on the tapes receive the tapes. I know some people get upset when any detail changes when something moves from one medium to another, but I felt all the changes in the adaptation fit for the new medium. Additionally, Netflix included the classic "the following program contains scenes of sexual violence" before each applicable episode, which is not something I've seen on their website prior, and I assume will be appreciated by those who have been affected by assault in the past. One of the best things about this adaptation is you got to see the backstory of many characters, and you actually got to see Hannah's parents. YA novels are notorious for ignoring the existence of parents, so it was fascinating to have this representation. Kate Walsh was an amazing choice for Hannah's mom. She brought so much emotion and heart to every episode. And the one movie I watched this week was Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, and it was adorable, and as always, Colleen Atwood definitely deserved her Oscar for costume design. I've just come to realize that definitely is my word. Instead of going I use definitely. It was nice to dig back into the Wizarding world, and I feel that everything that could be said about this movie has already been said, so I went into it just intending to enjoy my viewing. I enjoy watching things through a critical lens, but sometimes you just want to view something passively. This is what also tends to happen when you're with a couple of other people and you're chatting as the movie is going on. This week I listened to Seven for a Secret by Lindsay Fay. This is the second in the Timothy Wilde series, which takes place in 1840s New York. Timothy is a copper star and is wrapped up in a whole new mystery when a woman reports her family is missing. Through this, Timothy finds out a whole slew of racist laws that make it difficult for people to keep or have their freedom. The family in question is white passing, but blackbirders from the South, who are people that are paid to track down escaped slaves and return them to their masters, try to claim that they are property. Through having Tim learn these injustices, I'm getting a more full picture of systematic bias. Lindsay Fay's writing is intensely descriptive. Stephen Boyer is a wonderful narrator, once again giving every character their own voice, and I am very excited for the third in this trilogy. That's it for this week. This week I want to try something a little different and have you tell me what you're reading currently, or what you've read recently and you think that I would enjoy. Let me know down in the comments below. On the way down in the comments, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you next time. Bye!